On April 12, Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán, as voters headed to the polls for a parliamentary election expected to be a close race, expressed confidence in victory to reporters outside a polling station in Budapest. With tensions rising with Brussels over allegations of foreign interference, it was entirely possible that EU authorities might challenge the election results, in an effort to prevent Prime Minister Orbán's victory. The Fidesz party, led by Prime Minister Orbán, was in a tight race with the TISA party, led by Péter Magyar, according to opinion polls. The EU hoped for Orbán's defeat and backed Péter Magyar, while the Trump administration in the US openly supported Prime Minister Orbán.
Köszönjük szépen!
Most szavaztam egyet. Én egyet hozzátettem, hogy győzelemhez.
Mit üzenne Magyar Péternek ma reggel?
Hát a választóknak üzentem, igen.
Miniszterként Putin barátjának tartja magát, ahogy a Bloombergnek kiszivárgott beszélgetésben ezt állította.
Minden nagy állam vezetőjével baráti viszonyra törekszik Magyarország, és szerencsére nagyon sok barátunk van a világon. Amerikától, Kínán át, Oroszországig és a török világig is. Csak sorban. Igen,
mit üzen azoknak, akik ma még nem mentek el szavazni?
Hát, hogy menjenek.
Miniszterelnök úr, bocsánat.
Igen.
Just a question. You said that this election is crucially important for Hungary, the results of it. How would you compare it to the crucial elections of 1990?
It's difficult to say because the surrounding, the context is different. I think now in Europe we are heading to major crisis. Not one but several coming together. So it will be not easy for any nation to find the good answers to these challenges. So I think we need a strong national unity to be strong enough to resist to the energy crisis, the financial crisis, economic crisis, which is just approaching us. So it's different. So it's not
similarly crucial.
But for different reasons. So it's democracy, you know. The question is not to create democracy or not. The question is how to operate the democratically elected government. That's another question.
Mi volt a kampány legfelemelőbb pillanat és a legmélyebb pillanata?
Nagyon sok volt, nagyon sok emberrel foghattam kezet, akivel egyébként nem találkozhattam volna. Én nagyon szeretem a kampányokat, akkor lehet a legtöbb emberrel találkozni, és legtöbb dolgot alaposabban is megbeszélni. Úgyhogy nagyon boldog vagyok, és köszönöm minden magyar választópolgárnak, hogy fogadott, hogy szóba állt velem, hogy tudtunk beszélni, meghallgatott, és elmondhattam az érveimet.
Szóban a szavazást.
One of the main targets of the last decade in Hungary was to build a brotherhood-based relationship with Serbia. So it comes from the wish of the Hungarian people, the heart of the Hungarian people. So politics is important, but this is not the basis. We would like to have as strong relation as we can have with Serbia, because Serbia is a brotherhood nation.
Mr. Prime Minister, please.
Just sorry. Russian TV, please. What the?
Mire számít, milyen várakozásai van?
I'm here to win. I am here to win.
And what if you lose?
No, I like to win, yeah.
Mr. Prime Minister, please.
Please. No, we are a member of the European Union, and we insist the rights which belongs to the member states of the European Union. We oppose to build any kind of empire centralization. We firmly stand on the basis of the national rights and sovereignty and the basic treaty of the European Union. And we ask the center of Brussels to respect the rights and the basic treaty.
Ukrainian Prime Minister,
Subsidiarity is the key expression here.
Ukrainian TV.
Yeah, please.
In Zelensky's place, would you hand over your territories to Russia?
I'm lucky enough not to be Zelensky.
Mr. Prime Minister,
Sorban, parancsolj.
Will you congratulate Péter Magyar?
I'm always doing that. You know, there are certain civilization standards here in this country, and we keep it.
Mr. Prime Minister, please.
What will be your first decision tomorrow if you win the elections? What will be your first move?
The first move? To say thank you very much to the activists and hundreds of thousands of supporters who did a wonderful job in the last months of the campaign. So we mobilized all the country They devoted a lot of energy, working hours, emotions. So it was a great national moment on our side, how they served their nation through the campaign. So first action on my side will be to say thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Mr. Prime Minister.
Mr. Prime Minister,
Yes.
Arabic. The Europeans say they deny you if you win this election.
To deny. No, they have to accept the intention and will and express the opinion of the people. They can't disrespect the Hungarian people. They have to respect the decision.
Thank you. Please. So before I started my remarks, I actually had a special guest that asked that I give him a phone call, and we'll see. Let's hope he actually answers. So this is going to be very embarrassing.
On April 7th, the Trump administration dispatched Vice President J.D. Vance to Hungary just before negotiations with Iran. The purpose was to attend a rally in support of Prime Minister Orban.
Hello, Mr. President. How are you?
Hi. Hey, JD, could you give me a second? I'm just... Wow, that's some...
Mr. President, you are on with about 5,000 Hungarian patriots, and I think they love you even more than they love Viktor Orban.
Well, I can't believe that. I can't believe that because I love Hungary and I love that Victor. I'll tell you, he's a fantastic man. We've had a tremendous relationship and he does a job. Remember this, he didn't allow people to storm your country and invade your country like other people have and ruin their countries, frankly. He's kept your country good. He's kept Hungarian people in your country. And he's done a fantastic job. And let me tell you, I like him a lot, but if I didn't think he did a good job, I wouldn't be making a call like this. But boy, that sounds like a big crowd, and that sounds like my kind of people.
However, in this election, Fidesz won 2.5 million votes, while TISA won 3.3 million. In Hungary's crucial parliamentary election, which reportedly had an 80% voter turnout, Prime Minister Orban suffered a historic defeat. The BBC reported as follows. Jubilation in Budapest will be felt in Europe but leaves Moscow cold. It's an ironic full circle for Orban. He became famous in 1989 in then communist Hungary, calling on Russians to go home in a passionate speech he gave in the dying days of the Soviet Union. It's a phrase that first ricocheted through Budapest during Hungary's ill-fated anti-communist uprising of 1956. But over the years, Orban changed his political stripes. He moved further to the right, adopting an authoritarian edge. And throughout this election campaign, that slogan of his youth was thrown back in his face by critics, outraged by his long-standing, cozy relationship with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Orban's ousting is a real blow for Putin, who benefited from having an ally inside the EU. Orban delayed sanction packages after Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, and has been blocking a huge EU loan to Kiev it says it needs to survive. But Russia's loss is Ukraine's gain. President Volodymyr Zelensky was quick to congratulate Magyar on Sunday night, writing on X that he looked forward to constructive work together. On Sunday night, UK Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer described this as a historic moment for European democracy. The European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said Hungary had chosen Europe. Over in Washington, US President Donald Trump will have been distinctly less cock-a-hoop. Hungary's voters have robbed him of his closest ally in Europe. He repeatedly endorsed Orban, even sending his vice president to Budapest in the middle of the Iran war, to appear at a pro-Orban rally. It is true that some of Orban's supporters cite the invitation of Vice President Vance as one of the reasons for the defeat. Many oppose a US-Israeli war against Iran, and the view is that this move cost Prime Minister Orban, who is closely aligned with the Trump administration, votes. However, the reason Peter Magyar's TISA party, a fledgling opposition party, was able to grow so rapidly in just 2 years, was due to criticism of Fidesz and its associates regarding corruption, allegations of graft, and the party's one-party dictatorship. Magyar himself worked for the EU, from 2010 to 2015 as a civil servant in the Orban administration. His involvement with the EU continued thereafter. Because he was well versed in the inner workings of both the Hungarian government and the EU, he was a valuable asset to the EU as well. Others, who offered congratulations on Magyar's victory, include Alexander Soros, Hillary Clinton, and Barack Obama. This is a fact that has been confirmed by multiple media outlets. In February 2024, Magyar broke away from the Fidesz party and began criticizing the Orbán administration, primarily through podcasts and social media. This is what is known as a whistleblowing campaign. However, despite being based on one-sided claims and lacking any evidence, the criticism continues to spread on social media. The Wall Street Journal reported on this election campaign as follows. How an upstart politician reclaimed Hungarian nationalism to topple Orbán. Instead of renouncing Orbán's nationalism, he embraced it. Hungary's red, white and green tricolor was a trademark of his campaign rallies. And the Wall Street Journal's editorial board points out that liberals and the media exaggerated, or issued excessive warnings, when they called Orbán a dictator and hyped the end of democracy. On April 13, Péter Magyar delivered a victory speech lasting about 30 minutes, and answered questions from reporters for 2.5 hours. During that time, he touched on several policy issues. Policies regarding income tax exemptions and pensions for mothers with children will remain unchanged. Maintain and strengthen the southern border fence. Reject the EU's migration and refugee agreement. Restarting operations on the Druzhba pipeline is the top priority. Purchases of Russian energy will continue. Regarding Ukraine, the country will not be allowed to join the EU unless an agreement is reached on restoring the appropriate rights, including linguistic, educational, and cultural rights, of the Hungarian-speaking population in Transcarpathia. Hungary will not participate in the financial assistance being sent from the EU to Ukraine. Plans to hold a referendum on Ukraine's accession to the EU. Rights, support programs, and assistance for the Hungarian-speaking community will continue, and will not be abandoned. Based on this, the view that there will likely be no major changes in Hungary's policies, overall has gained traction. The EU, which had celebrated Prime Minister Orbán's defeat, remained silent on this matter. In other words, the view is that while Prime Minister Orbán lost the election, he won in terms of policy. And what has begun to circulate on social media is the theory that Prime Minister Orbán's defeat in this election was planned. It involves President Trump and Prime Minister Orbán working together to sideline Ursula von der Leyen and install Prime Minister Orbán as President of the European Commission. Where did this story come from? In an interview in May 2024, Péter Magyar said the following.
De most mondok egy meredeket. Mi lenne, ha Orbán Viktor lenne az Európai Bizottság, az Európai Tanács elnöke? Neki van víziója. És szerintem az nagyon fontos egy politikusnál, hogy van víziója. Nem biztos, hogy egyet értünk vele, és Magyarországon valószínűleg most már a többség nem ért egyet vele, mert a saját bőrén érzi ennek áldásos hatását. De azt kell, hogy mondjam, hogy Európában egyébként a politikusok körében nem. De az emberek körében Orbán Viktor népszerű, és azért népszerű, mert kimond dolgokat, vagy kimondott dolgokat, persze jól felfogott politikai okból, de ezt az egyszerű ember nem veszi észre. Ő nyíltan beszélt az elejétől fogva a migrációról, miközben a saját politikusaik ott Nyugat-Európában hazudtak az embereknek, azt mondták, hogy ez nem is probléma, és hogy jönnek az agysebészek, mint amikor nekünk azt mondták az uniós csatlakozáskor, hogy mindenki nyithat egy cukrászdát ugye Bécsbe, tehát ne hazudtak az embereknek, ő pedig beleállt ebbe, még egyszer mondom, belpolitikai okokból, de ők emlékeznek az emberek erre. És a Covid idején és egy csomó válság idején az Orbán Viktornak van egy víziója, és van egy kemény vonalas politikája.
But there is also a completely opposite line of reasoning. In 2019, EU officials organized resistance against Prime Minister Orbán and formed a shadow cabinet. They took their plan to seize power to George Soros's Open Society Foundation, which poured in millions of euros. Then, in 2024, Péter Magyar emerged and became the leader of the opposition within a few months. From either perspective, Péter Magyar is regarded as someone who was sent in. But, Péter Magyar also said the following in the interview mentioned earlier.
Azt nem vették észre, hogy ezzel az egész jogállamisági eljárással, meg a pénzekkel való zsarolással Orbán Viktornak segítenek a legtöbbet. És a legtöbbet pedig a magyar embereknek ártanak. A magyar egészségügynek, a magyar oktatásnak, a magyar kis- és közepes vállalkozóknak és a magyar gazdáknak. Az, hogy visszatartja az Európai Unió pénzeket igaztalan vagy igaz állítások alapján, az nem csak Tiborcs Istvánnak rossz, az nem csak Mészáros Lőrincnek rossz, vagy a többi oligarchának rossz, hanem a magyar embereknek. És ráadásul, ha igazságosak akarunk lenni, és nem megint egy ilyen elvakult szemüvegen keresztül nézzük, akkor a magyar kormány hosszan, nem túl nem túl kooperatív módon, de végül teljesítette azokat az elvárásokat, amiket az Európai Bizottság szabott a pénzek kifizetéséhez. De hogy mennyire bürokratikus és mennyire felesleges ez a sok feltétel, az egyik ilyen volt, amit Brüsszel szabott, az a vagyonnyilatkozati eljárás átalakítása a képviselők kapcsán. Sikerült azt megcsinálni, hogy egy sokkal kevésbé hasznos és értelmezhető vagyonnyilatkozat lett most Magyarországon, mint előtte volt, és ezen a Fidesz még röhögött is, kiröhögte Brüsszelt, mert még kevesebb dolgot, kevesebb konkrétumot kell feltüntetni, mint korábban.
Petr Magyar is now referring not only to a major policy review and shift, but also to a cooperative stance toward the EU. This is already evident in his actions over the past 2 weeks, even before taking office as Prime Minister. Among Prime Minister Orbán's critics, many describe him as Putin's puppet, or a US stooge. President Trump had this to say about the election results. US President Donald Trump told ABC News reporter Jonathan Karl on Tuesday that he was not concerned about Viktor Orbán's loss in Hungary, and that he likes incoming Prime Minister Petr Magyar. "I think the new man's going to do a good job, he's a good man," Trump told the reporter. He did not know if it would have made a difference if he had gone to Hungary instead of Vice President J.D. Vance to campaign for Orbán. "He was behind substantially," Trump said. "I wasn't that involved in this one. Viktor's a good man, though."
После выборов в Венгрии ожидает ли Россия, что новое правительство разблокирует кредит Украине в 90 миллиардов евро, и какой может быть реакция Кремля на это?
Венгры сделали свой выбор. Мы с уважением относимся к этому выбору. Мы рассчитываем на то, что мы продолжим наши весьма прагматичные контакты с новым руководством Венгрии. Мы слышали заявление, тем более о готовности вести диалог. Разумеется, это будет полезно и для Москвы, и для Будапешта. Какие будут действия нового руководства в Венгрии? Наверное, надо набраться терпения и посмотреть, что будет происходить. Мы, еще раз повторяю, заинтересованы в выстраивании добрых отношений с Венгрией, как и со всеми странами Европы. Мы знаем, что в отношении европейских стран пока, к сожалению, о взаимности говорить не приходится, но Россия открыта к диалогу.
Спасибо вам.
Еще, пожалуйста.
Дмитрий Сергеевич, здравствуйте. РИА Новости, можно вопрос?
Да, здравствуйте.
Скажите, каковы теперь перспективы нефтепровода «Дружба»? Он будет нужен Венгрии или кому-то еще в Европе, на ваш взгляд?
Вам нужно спросить об этом Венгрию и еще кого-то в Европе.
Спасибо.
Россия является и будет оставаться одним из самых надежных поставщиков энергоресурсов в мире. В этом плане роль России невозможно переоценить.
Поняла, спасибо.
Еще, пожалуйста.
Можно агентство «Франс Пресс»?
Да, пожалуйста, пожалуйста.
Продолжение этого же вопроса про Венгрию. Как, на ваш взгляд, результат выборов скажется на перспективе развития российско-украинского конфликта?
Я не думаю, что это имеет отношение к перспективе развития российско-украинского конфликта. Это наверное, разные процессы. Поэтому я здесь какой-то связи не усматриваю.
Уточню, речь идет о разблокировке 90 миллиардов евро Евросоюзом, который тормозил правительство Орбана.
Опять же, это то решение, которое будет приниматься в Брюсселе. Мы считаем, что любые действия на продолжение подпитывания милитаристских и провоенных устремлений киевского режима – это те шаги, которые не способствуют поискам мирного урегулирования. Впрочем, европейцы не скрывают своей генеральной линии на продолжение этой войны, на то, чтобы всячески способствовать продолжению войны. Мы же нацелены на то, чтобы достигнуть своей цели в контексте Украины. Для нас было бы предпочтительным достигнуть эти цели путем политико-дипломатических переговоров. До тех пор, пока эти переговоры не принесли результатов, продолжается специальная военная операция.
Tisztelt honfitársaim, mára kiderült, hogy a tegnapi választáson több mint 2.250.000 szavazó támogatta a Fidesz-KDNP listáját és jelöltjeit. A nemzeti oldal, a mi politikai közösségünk ma ekkora Magyarországon. Hálás köszönet minden támogatónknak. 2014-ben ugyanennyi választópolgár támogatásával hatalmas választási győzelmet arattunk, tegnap ugyanez csak a tisztes helytálláshoz és a vereséghez volt elég. De a nemzeti oldal szavazói mindig számíthatnak ránk. A Fidesz Magyarország legösszetartóbb politikai közössége, évtizedek óta szolgáljuk hűségesen a magyar embereket, és a következő években is így teszünk majd. Az a tervünk, hogy a szavazóinkkal közösen megvédjük a nemzeti oldal vívmányait, a következő hetekben újjá szervezzük magunkat, elmegyünk minden választókerületbe, összehívjuk az önkénteseinket, aktivistáinkat, képviselőinket és jelöltjeinket, április 28-án pedig országos választmányi ülést tartunk ma. A munka elindult. Hajrá Magyarország, hajrá magyarok!
Peter Magyar visited Brussels to seek the lifting of the freeze on EU funds intended for Hungary. And today, during his visit, he announced the abolition of Hungary's Sovereignty Defense Agency. Do the Hungarian people wish to abandon their sovereignty and be known as Europeans from now on? On social media, all sorts of speculations, rumors, and wishful thinking are flying around. This isn't limited to the situation in Hungary, the same applies to the war in Iran. Posts on social media aren't necessarily true, even when compared to mainstream media. This is because no one takes responsibility for any commentary or posts they make. As of April 12, when Prime Minister Orbán conceded defeat, 53% of the votes had been counted, and the mail-in ballots had not yet been tallied. The results of the mail-in vote showed that the Fidesz party received approximately 85% of the vote, while the Tisza party received only 10%. Under the Hungarian constitution, a recount is permitted if an objection to the election results is filed within a few days. Prime Minister Orbán didn't do that either. Perhaps that is what led the media to say, democracy in Hungary is alive and well. This footage shows a young Viktor Orbán delivering a speech in 1989. It is said that a photo of Viktor Orbán hung in the room of Peter Magyar, who was 10 years old at the time.